my friends, and welcome to another edition of the Thursday Show. Thank you so much for your wonderful company this evening. We have got such a show for you this week, and I think it is needed. What another topsy-turvy week. I don't know if you saw that there have been anti-lockdown riots in the Netherlands, bringing a whole new meaning to the phrase going Dutch. Over here in the UK, the R rate is going down while the R rate is definitely going up. Boris Johnson has said that he's promising he's doing all he can to keep schools, to get schools open. And as we all know, that any promise from a politician, especially Boris Johnson, is absolutely certain to happen. I mean, with the amount of kids that he's got, you'd think that he would understand a parent's plight. And this sums up how topsy-turvy this entire week is. Frank Lampard lost his job. Boris Johnson kept his. But we decided to steer clear of all of those politics because at the start of this week, it was Burns Night. So in celebration this week, our theme is Scotland. We thought, why not celebrate Scotland while they're still part of the Union before they fuck off? Let us know that you are there as ever. Please comment in the chat if you are feeling uber generous as well. Please share this link so that we can spread the love and we can reach more people and bring some giggles into your life. You all know the drill as well, that it is free to watch the show, but it is not free to make. So if you do have any donations, please do donate generously to the link below. You can see there the average donation is generally, we kind of advise an average donation there to be the price of a pint, and as I live in London, that's about 20 quid. Thank you very much to Kirsty that's already said hello and happy Thursday show all the way from Melbourne. It's a beautiful place up there in Derbyshire. And Catherine says hello from Glasgow, which is now Boris free. It is, but I think you'd all do well to quarantine for 2 weeks anyway. But it's not only me. To make sense of this week, I'm joined as ever by my comedy couple. Now introducing the man that puts the human into humour. It's a lovely Jay Sodigar. Which way it's going to be? Which way it's going to be? It's that way.
There, I'm there. I figured it out. Fuck off. It's there. It's the opposite way. It's there.
Great.
It's there. I knew it was going to do that. I knew he was going to do that. Bless you. How are you? I've got some big news to share.
Go on.
This is absolutely true. There was a national poll that was conducted in the UK, right? And people voted, and I was voted the 5th most popular Asian comedian in the UK. This is absolutely true. Yes. I'll go through the list. First is Ramesh Ranganathan. Now he's on TV all the time. I don't begrudge him that. Good, well done. Second is Paul Sinha, the guy off of The Chase, who's so I don't begrudge him that either. Third is Paul Chowdhury, and I don't like him. I think he's a cunt, but never mind. And fourth on the list is every other Asian comedian in the UK, and I'm number 5. So yay me! This is it. Number 6, by the way. Number 6, by the way, is Nigel Farage. So there's got a big dropper after me. Bless him. Last year I was number 6 and he was number 5, but I beat him. So fuck you, Nigel. That's all I've got.
Is he Asian?
It doesn't matter. It does not matter. He made the list. That's all I'm saying. I think he's got a connection with Asian humour. I think he just takes the piss out of them quite a bit. I think that's what it is. You can tell people this. All the viewers on tonight, you can tell people that you saw the Thursday show with the 5th most popular Asian comedian in the UK. I'll sign autographs. I don't care. But apart from that, it's been all right. This week. It's been all right.
I don't mean to stump your credit, but I'm actually the 6th most popular comedian on this call, which is impressive because there's only 5 of us on. So you know what I mean? It's kind of, that is impressive, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, me and you, we could do an Edinburgh show together. It's about Scotland. Let's do it in like 2043 or something. Whenever Edinburgh opens back up. By that time, hopefully, I'll be like number 4 on the list. I'm waiting on someone to die. Romesh is still young, so Paul's okay. Chowdhury, I'm hoping someone to kill him, but never mind.
I wouldn't be. I mean, I don't want to air my dirty laundry in public, but I think the way that he kind of gets on, that's that's another story for another day. Has anything else been going on in your week?
No, not much. I've been looking at the news, and it's been a week since Biden's been in power, and it's going to take him at least 4 years to undo all the shit Donald did. So hoping he'll win a second term, and then he might actually start getting rid of COVID and all that other business going on. So it might take another 4 more years. But bless him, he might not even live. So do you know what I mean? I'm not saying he'll die or anything, but he's knocking on a bit.
What do you know? Joe Biden, Paul Chowdhury. Is this just Jay's hit list this week?
It's all written down here, mate. That is my Tesco's receipt, by the way. That is my Tesco's receipt. That's how I write all my hit lists. I'm very current.
I like on a Tesco's pad as well. You kill them and then go, every little helps. Like that. Brilliant.
Very sharp. I'm very sharp. I like that little bit of improv there. I like that. Well done.
Well, it's not only me and Jay this week. Of course, we are joined by our compatriot. He puts the Scots into Scotland. I'd written something else. Down, but I couldn't find it. So I'm like going through tabs, going, he puts the wiki into Wikipedia. It doesn't work. Let's introduce the wonderful Vladimir McTavish.
Hey. Yes, good evening. I was recently voted the 5th most popular Glaswegian comedian in Edinburgh. There you go. I won't tell you who the other 4 were, but number 3 was Lubna Kerr.
She's number 4 on my list.
I wondered where she was on that list. Welcome to Scotland. Yeah, this is where I am doing this show. It is a week to be Scottish. This is a week we celebrated Burns Night on Monday. Burns Night is our national day. Other countries celebrate their patron saint. We celebrate the life of an alcoholic poet who died when he was 35. You can't really sum up us as a nation any more succinctly than that. And we are. This may well be the last Burns Night that, as you say, Dave, that we're part of the UK. And our departure from the UK was brought that little bit closer today. I think when Boris Johnson went on the charm offensive and decided against all government guidelines, his own government guidelines, he decided to visit Glasgow when he's telling people not to make unnecessary journeys. He was given a very, very warm welcome when he crossed the Scottish border, as we can see here. There you go. Well, yes, more perceptive regular viewers of this show will recognise that picture from a previous show, and we're going to show it as many times as we possibly fucking can until he finally does fuck off. Of course, it'd be all right if it was just Johnson, but they're just such a shower of shit. In fact, he doesn't disappoint me because you think about Johnson, he's a posh old Etonian. His home is the Tory party. The people who really get me are the people who are traitors to their own people, the likes of Michael Gove. He's Scottish. What's he doing in a Tory government? In fact, he today said that Johnson had every right to visit Scotland, although Michael Gove himself, being Scottish, had the sense to stay the fuck away from here. not just Michael Gove. I think the most odious of the lot is Priti Patel. And we have the dubious pleasure of being able to see her on tonight's show. Here we go.
Many people believe that the right thing to do, given the scale and speed of this new variant, once it all became public knowledge, the right thing to do would have been to order the country into a national lockdown of the kind we're now in. And that the failure to do that and to allow families to meet at Christmas has now turned out to be a catastrophic mistake. That's the point.
Well, we don't know that. And we had said repeatedly in the run up to that Christmas period in particular to reduce social contact, to have very restrictive Christmases. We were not telling people to get together in mass gatherings.
No, but you weren't telling them they couldn't. And that's the difference between now and then.
No, we were telling people not to meet with wider family members.
You allowed them to do it under the rules. You can't say, well, on the one hand, we allowed people to do it, and on the other hand, we told people not to. It's exactly what we knew you were going to do. Back in December, you're going to allow people to do it. You were going to allow people to mix. And in January, you were going to blame people who knew it was legitimate under the rules. You were going to blame them for what then happened, even though it was within the government's control to change that.
I think, first of all, the government is not blaming anybody.
It's not blaming anybody. Very true. Not blaming anybody. They're blaming everyone for the shit they've made.
Mm-hmm.
That Priti Patel. I mean, it's not just that they're so right wing. I mean, it's the intellectual vacuum that these people are. The fact they can be monstered on breakfast television. You know, not by not a heavyweight commentator, by fucking Piers Morgan and Susanna Reid. Did not even get answers to the pair of those lightweights. I mean, Piers Morgan, for God's sake, guy used to be a judge in Britain's Got Talent. Can you imagine if they were up against a real heavyweight like Amanda Holden?
They are. I only say this. I know they are the ones that they get more nervous about because they ask real questions like, "What's the price of a pint?" And Boris Johnson will go, "I don't know, 3 shillings, 1 farthing." You know.
But what gets me, and I'm sure you agree with this, Jay, is their traits to their culture, to their class. I mean, I'm Scottish. I grew up in Scotland. You're a British Indian. You grew up in the British Indian community. And the way we were brought up, it was total anathema to vote Tory.
No,
let alone not Tory government. I mean, if you think the people who created the Indian Revolution, the likes of Nehru, they'd be thinking, spinning in their grave. Look at these people. Imagine Gandhi. Imagine Gandhi, during his hunger strike, if someone had predicted Priti Patel, he started binge eating on a high-carb diet. But enough of fuckers. This is the week of Burns Night. And to all the non-Scots watching, and I'll kind of briefly explain how Burns Night works. It is a celebration of the life of Robert Burns, who was a fantastic poet. He created a huge body of work, despite the fact that he only lived to 35 and spent most of his time getting pissed and shagging around. So the fact he wrote any poetry at all is amazing. And on his birthday, 25th of January, throughout the world, people get together and they celebrate the guy's life. And there's certain traditions that happen. They have a toast to the immortal memory of Robert Burns. They have a man proposing a toast to the lassies. They have a woman giving a reply from the lassies. And I've been to a lot of these things. And the toast to the lassies is usually some old git just spouting a whole load of misogynistic nonsense. And I'd like to celebrate Burns Night with a poem that I wrote starting this week for a Burns supper I did online where I was going to give the toast to the lassies. And I thought, I'm not doing this old sexist nonsense. I'm going to give this toast to the women who really have helped this country through the last 10 months. So here we go. This is my toast to the lassies in the poetry of Robert Burns, but more like William McGonagall, right? I ken this toast is usually meant to laugh at women's folks aplenty. But that doesn't seem right after 2020. So I wrote down these verses. And all my love and thanks are sent to paramedics, doctors, and nurses. Does your mask hide the worry on your face as you tend to the sick with patient grace? You tack on every single case with determination. Brave women folk of every race, you've saved our nation. At every close, on every block, we clap for you at 8 o'clock. And rattled on our pans and pots, we should rattle cages. And force that arsehole, Matt Hancock, to increase your wages. It's not just the women of the NHS, there's care homes from Gretna to Inverness, who tend our old folk through times of stress, and I'll stick my neck out. We owe our gratitude to Samira and Jess on the co-op checkout. And Julie, who drives the 21 bus, deserves the thanks of all of us. She does her job without a fuss, and all she asks is keep your distance, pay contactless, and wear a mask. The sacrifice won't be forgot. You serve us all in times so fraught. In Dundee, Ullapool and Shotts, we'll raise our glasses and toast these saviours of all Scots, our braw, brave lasses. There you go. Thank you very much.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Cheers. With a pet
How beautiful. What a fine way to kick off this wonderful show. Now, there will be loads more from Jay and our floating head throughout the show. But we also are joined by two wonderful guests. The first of which is called Gareth Mutch. He is a brilliant stand-up comic. But to put that in some sort of context, let's have a quick look at him in action.
We watch TV. That's what we do. Right now, we're binging I'm a Celeb. That's what we watch. I fucking love watching I'm a Celeb. I especially love watching I'm a Celeb with my family because my mum every year says the same thing. She's like, you should do this. You should do this, Gareth. Why aren't you on this? You should do this. Why aren't you on this? Like every year I'm getting the call, but every year I'm just turning it down. Like I'm on the phone going, no, Aunt May, add another zero. Arrivederci. Like every year the TV execs are phoning up going, oh, Christ, Mutchie's passed again. I don't know what we're going to do. We are scraping the barrel. See if we've got Mo Farah's number kicking about here somewhere. Why aren't you doing this? It's obvious why I'm not doing this, because I'm doing this. That's why I'm not doing this. Why aren't you doing this? She's not even watching this right now. Right now, she's watching Shane Ritchie drink a blended pig's vagina. That's what she's doing.
Please welcome the marvellous, the fantastic Gareth Mutch.
Hey,
Gareth. That's great. That's great. I was in the audience for that show because this is from Japan.
Yeah, watching it back, I was like, we should hopefully clarify that was like one of these like live stream gigs. That's not a room full of 300 people and there's six people in a corner going, he's all right.
Or as the White Shot showed, hardly anyone in the room. It wasn't. It wasn't your 2019 Fringe show.
Yeah, all right, a bit personal early doors here, but yeah, no, exactly, it wasn't. No.
I must say, and I thought this at the time when I saw that gig, and we saw each other a couple of times when we still could. I'm loving your hair, mate. It just looks so fantastic. But did you do that yourself in lockdown, or did you get it done once we could?
Paul, I'm going to surprise you. I did it myself. I know that's a shocker. Of course I did. Look how shit it is. Of course I did it myself.
This. In fact, I might do this for next week's show.
At least yours is one coherent colour throughout. Mine's is all over this shop, man.
One coherent colour caused by the passage of time. Yeah, I think next week I might cut my hair live during the show.
Go for it, man.
Yeah. How's it been for you? I've done a couple of those gigs you did at the Stand, and gigs like this are funny because we're just kind of talking to a mate.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like a Zoom call. Those ones were strange in that we were in a familiar place where we used to performing, but just to a camera.
Yeah, that was like the really weird thing. To be fair, I haven't actually. I don't mind them. To be fair, like overall, I think I've had worse gigs.
Great! I loved it. The fact that we actually had an audience. I mean, we couldn't have very many because obviously restrictions. But it was great hearing laughter from people because
And as you say, it's just nice being back in like your local club again. It was just like that little slice of normality after having nothing. Like going back to the stand and seeing you and Christine and this like a member of staff behind the bars. It was just nice to have that little slice of normal again.
I thought it was nice getting out of the house to do a gig rather than walking into another room.
Yeah.
That's
that's one thing I prefer about these times. Like, fuck getting on a bus to go into town. Yeah, exactly. Just walk into the next room. It's way there.
You can get pissed after the gig and not worry about how you get home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can walk home, mate. I can stumble home from here. Crawl.
So, Burns Night, was it a big thing in your household? Because it was, but we used to celebrate it. Both my parents are Scottish, or were Scottish. Although my mother's mother was English and my father's mother was Irish, but we still something we celebrate because your dad's Welsh.
He is indeed, Paul. Yes, he's a Welsh man.
Yeah. So was it something you had? It wasn't something you paid a great deal of attention to then?
Nah, not at all. It wasn't like my dad made a rule. There'll be no bloody Burns in this house, but it wasn't like that. It was just more because I don't really think we did it in school either, which is like the place where we would have done it. My girlfriend speaks about like she won, like they had a thing in her school where like you'd all read or like recite a Burns poem, and whoever like had the best rendition of it would like win a little prize or whatever. And I was like, we didn't have any of that. I'll be honest with you, like my whole knowledge and relationship with Robert Burns is limited. But yeah, it was just, it's something I never really grew up on at all. No.
Burns Night, because I've done Burns Nights in various parts of the world, and sometimes you got a bunch of pedantic Scots expats who are really kind of strict about how it's run, and quite often you got a bunch of people who don't know what the hell it's about.
Yeah, well, like what's the point in that? I don't understand why people would be like, this isn't a proper. What is a proper Burns supper? That's a bit of a.
The good thing about it is, if you're Scottish, you can just tell them any old shit. I once convinced an American that Burns Night actually commemorates the victims of chip pan fires.
Beautiful.
And he was wondering why we ate haggis to celebrate, and I said, "Well, come on, mate, we can hardly eat chips, could we?"
that'd be incentive.
Yeah, it'd be rubbing salt in the wound.
Tell you what, Paul. Actually, that's a good question. That's I want to know now. What was the thing that you like when you said that the Scottish expats or whatever, like they would want like a proper Burns supper? What sort of things would they consider traditional?
Endless bloody poetry, fiddle music, piping in the haggis, all that kind of
shite. It doesn't sound like a laugh, does it?
That's not much.
Someone got on you going, there wasn't a fucking fiddle in the haggis. Shite.
Yeah. You just fiddle with yourself. That's what I did. But no, I love the fact we have these different traditions, and I love the fact that you can have a bit of fun with people messing about with them. Like if you get, say, you got a tourist up here at Hogmanay, we bring in the new year, and you can just get any old ball and say, "Oh well, if you first foot your neighbours, you've got to go to the front door with a lump of coal. If they let you into the house, you've got to eat the coal."
It's like some weird like Scottish vampire thing. That
yeah. And if you can't eat the coal because of some intolerance, then they can internally enter you anally with a blunt instrument. It's what we've always been doing.
No one's believing that. Not even an American. No one's believing that.
I had another one that.
If you lost me, if you can't eat the coal, well, that's everyone. No one can eat the coal.
I know. Well, they have to be entered with a blunt instrument. Is
that true?
Aye, that's true. So the one on St Andrew's Day to celebrate St Andrew's journey from the Middle East to Scotland. It is traditional to make any journey blacked up.
We're there already. We're there.
Already. Yeah, so have you got any? You can make them up for next year.
I tell you what, Paul, leave it with me. I'll have a good wee think, and next year I promise you, it'll be a Burns Night tradition from now going forward. Me and my dad will sit down, and me and my Welsh father will just make some shit up. Like, oh no, it's tradition, no. We'll make it up next year. Next year, Paul, we'll get on it.
You know, well, obviously not last year because it didn't happen. You've now done what, 3 Edinburgh Fringe shows?
Hold on. Yeah, 3. Much Ado About Nothing was the first one, which I had a fucking terrible. I think I had the shittest gig I've ever had. Was a preview for that show.
Much Ado About Nothing. Just to explain again to the audience. There's Gareth's name, Much with a T.
Yeah. Gareth Mutch, MUTC.
I do remember the posters for that. Weren't you kind of wearing a Shakespearean?
Oh yeah. I was full of like the full ruff and everything. I had like a fag in my mouth, but I photoshopped my head onto a picture of Shakespeare. That's what it was. It wasn't me in like a costume. It was just my head imposed onto a picture of William. And yeah, like you need to, preview your show a bunch of times before you take it to the festival, so it's not shit, right? I didn't do any of that, but lucky enough for me, a friend of mine who was a comedy promoter, Paul was doing them as well. He phoned me up, and he was like, "We're running like a Fringe preview day. Do you fancy bringing Much Ado About Nothing to preview it?" And it was in Dunfermline, right? So I just went, "Yeah, sure, fine, fuck it, might as well get a chance to preview the show is always a good thing." So I turn up, and it was on the day. I remember thinking, I don't even know how many tickets I've sold here. So I asked the guy, "How many tickets have I sold?" And the promoter was like, "Oh, mate, you sold out." And like, yeah, and especially this is like 3 years ago. People now are watching, going, "Well, who the fuck is this guy? How is he selling it?" And this is 3 years ago, so no one definitely knew who the fuck I was. So I was just kind of like, "Oh, maybe all the Mutchy fans lived in Dunfermline, right?" So I'm watching them all come in, and they're all really old.
All right,
like really old, like half gremlin, half dead, old, right? And I'm looking at the old fuckers, and I'm thinking, I mean, they don't exactly look like my target demographic, shall we say? So I'm thinking in my head, is something went wrong here? And then it just clicks in my fucking brain that what had happened, and what had happened was they all bought a ticket to see Much Ado About Nothing, the Shakespearean play. And spoiler alert, everyone, I am not the bard. So
and that was so bad. That was something you didn't study in HND drama at Telford College.
No, I couldn't just go. Yeah, I had Merchant of Venice in there, but not Much Ado About Nothing. It was so bad. About 5 minutes into the gig, there was this woman who she took out a book and started to read. And because no one is like, no one's laughing, no one's even interested. Everyone's like, I fucking hate our life choices that have led us here. I heard someone go, "We got a bus full and let's go for this shit," right? People were angry. So this woman took out a book. So I was like, fuck it, just go into the crowd, talk about her book, break it up a bit. And then I was like, "Oh, what book are you reading?" She was like, "I'm reading Carnegie," right? Now I know who Andrew Carnegie is. I do. I'm not that much of a dickhead. But in that moment, I'm just panicking and I just want to ask more questions so there's more conversation. So I just go, "Oh, who's Carnegie?" And she looked at me. She was like, "How dare you come to Dunfermline and not know who Andrew Carnegie is? Have you never played the Carnegie Hall?" And I was like, "No, I haven't, love." Fucking surprise. But I haven't. I'm in a cafe in Dunfermline. But no, I've not played the Carnegie Hall. No.
Yeah, it shows she had great confidence in how good the show was going to be that she brought a book. I had a shit gig in that part of the world myself, actually, just down the road in
Dunfermline, man. Fuck it.
Oh, it's Kirkcaldy. I actually get booed on. That's how angry these people were. They fucking booed on, and not only that, I get booed off.
Well, you'd expect that, to be fair. If you get booed on, my brain would go, "There's a good chance I'm getting booed off here."
Yeah, in fact, getting booed off was that's the better bit.
Yeah, of course.
But it was this community. It was for the round table, and they had this event every year. And you know what happens? Anytime
this is like a proper Vladimir McTavish gig. This for the round table.
I was on after a pie eating competition, and I knew it was going to be tough.
Fucking course you were.
They were throwing the compare before I went on. And there had been some argument about who'd won the pie eating competition. Billy should have won. That's a stitch up. And they're like, "Come on, right down, laddies. We're a comedian from Edinburgh here," because that just set them off again. Fucking Edinburgh, cunt. And so I get booed off.
Oh, fuck.
And it was all this guy, this compere, went back on again and said, right, lads, come on, settle down. And he always that's always going to work, isn't it?
Right, lads, come on. Right, lads, come on. We've had our fun. Settle now.
Down, test of order. And he said, we've raised a lot of money for charity tonight. All we can ask is you boys show some charity to that comedian who's been a long journey. Go way back on stage. He fucking brought me on.
No, he never. No, he never.
I get booed back on. They got
Oh, fucking heck. Paul, why did you go back on?
Because I thought, well, better get paid.
I've already been booed off and on.
Yeah,
if this time I don't, it's a win.
Yeah. And then, it's like, organisers always try and explain why an audience would behave like idiots.
Yeah. Well, they feel it's their responsibility to do so now, Paul. Yeah.
Yeah. He said, there's a bad element in, and I thought, fucking bad element is a whole periodic table of badness. he said, they're angry about last year. I don't know what happened last year. Comedian didn't turn up. And apparently,
do you know who it was?
I don't. No, never found out. But apparently what happened is the guy didn't turn up and they got the money they would have paid the comedian and didn't hire a professional stripper.
Whoa. They didn't hire a stripper?
They did, but they got two.
It wasn't a professional.
No,
an amateur.
They went to the
of the stripper game.
They went to the local chip shop and offered these women in the queue.
Fuck, Paul, you're fucking. This is one of your fucking. You think you're American thinking about the chip pan fire. I'm not fighting, Paul. No fucking danger. Did they walk down to the local chipper and go, any of you lassies fancy making 250 quid and have a wee strip for the lads? Nay danger that happened.
It did happen. And apparently, after they'd done it, one of the women said, mind, I can't stay that long. I've got to get these strips home to my man.
So in comparison, Paul, I think you had a good gig.
Yeah, exactly. So what does 2021 hold for you, Gareth, before we kind of wind this up?
Honestly, I think like what I've really liked, if I'll say this quickly, what I've really liked is seeing, because we're all used to being stand-up comics and stuff, but it's been really kind of nice seeing, especially with everything going on and fucking this whole like you need to retrain thing, just seeing my comrades, I'll call us, to be so resilient and just find different ways to keep sort of being creative has been genuine, I think, inspiring, and shows that we are fucking tough people artists. So I'm trying to do the same. I've got a YouTube channel, I've got a podcast, and I'm just trying to chuck all sort of creativity into that to keep myself sane, but also, so if anyone does like what I do, there's a place for them to enjoy it.
Great. And we can plug that at the end of the show, your YouTube channel.
Beautiful.
I think probably got a link that'll be on screen. Listen, mate, we're kind of working against time now, but you're going to be back later on. I'm going to be back later on.
Beautiful.
A lot for coming to the show. It's really, as ever, been a joy, Gareth. Thank you. Let's get back to Dave and Jay. Gareth Mutch, everyone.
Wonderful stuff. What a great interview. I could have listened to that all day, but I know, Paul, you've got a meat raffle to get off to. So what we're going to do is we're going to welcome our next guest. She's been performing comedy since 2005. She's performed all over the world, including New York, Los Angeles, Toronto, Reykjavik, and now the Thursday show. Let's have a quick look at Jay Lafferty doing what she does best.
Notice that, Ian? Ian, did you know anybody ran allergy when you were... No. Because we didn't have allergies. We had natural selection, right? That's what we had. I mean, Ian and I both had one pal. Everybody over the age of 30 had one pal with asthma. Everybody. One pal with asthma. They pulled their iron lungs behind them. They get the fuck on with their lives. Not now. I've got an allergy. Fuck off. thing that annoys me even more, and it's more people in their 20s that do this, right? And you can have a bit of fun with this. I usually tell audiences you can have fun with this, but you are the demographic I'm fucking talking about. So we can have fun with this. Like, I love it now. If you try and offer a hipster woman a baguette, just give it a shot, because you'll hear this. I'm sorry, I can't eat that. I'm intolerant. If I eat that baguette, my stomach will swell up, and I'll just fucking fly away. Good, fuck off. Total nonsense. It's made up. You've been brainwashed, right? There's no such thing as intolerance. So you now go down that aisle, the aisle in Tesco's and Asda's and Lidl's, the aisle of intolerance, or the whole of America. Like, you walk down that, get lactose-free, gluten-free, wheat-free, the whole shebang, right? We never had that, Ian, did we? No, because if you were intolerant to have food before 2016, all that would happen was that your mum would make you sit at that dinner table until you developed tolerance.
Awesome.
Sorry for you.
Brilliant. Dave's joining us here. There you go. Fantastic. It's lovely to see you, Dave. I rabbit in headlights. What the fuck am I doing here? I have no idea.
I don't know. That wasn't my video. I've changed a lot since that video was made. I mean, I've cut my hair. I've intentionally become a lot less attractive, and I've my voice has actually, ironically, has gone up as I've taken the testosterone. But
this is what happens with gluten intolerance. You just change into Dave Chawner. This is what happens.
Gluten intolerance equals male intolerance. So I think that's what happens. Before we go to sort of Jermaine Greer on this, emergency Dave will swap when Jay introduced. I don't know what that means. So Jay, you've been up to anything. Have you got any food intolerances? Tell me this. Have you got any food intolerances?
Oh no, I don't have any food intolerances. Exactly like Jay Lafferty said. It's like, if my parents just forced me, you are eating that. You are eating that right now, and you're finishing it all. It's a bit like when your parents caught you smoking. Right, you got to finish the packet. Right. I had to eat the pig. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I tell you what, my friend, I have an intolerance to staged conversation. So I'm going to have to move on. Introducing the wonderful Jay Lafferty.
Yes.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
This is what happens in a live show.
I know. I love that. Jay doing what she does best. Her mime impersonation.
It's such a this is one thing that I've heard of you. I've been to Edinburgh many times, and Jay Lafferty is up, names up there, and Paul will tell you the story. There is actually a Scottish comedian who actually mistook both of us.
Yeah. He booked me, and he thought he booked you. I was a big surprise, because I'm only the fourth best Asian comic in the UK.
Yeah, I know. Did he up the fee? Did he? All I'm now interested is who books that gig that Vlad was talking about. I was like, I could be a stripper. I could do that.
Absolutely. They're so fussy. Him and Gareth, I can play to old men. It's fine. I know who Carnegie is.
Oh, bless you. It is such a pleasure to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I think this is a tip that they did. Jay versus Jay. This is a bit Kramer versus Kramer, but without the marriage and the divorce and the Oscars, obviously. Now, bless you. I found this out about you. You've been doing comedy for a while. You've been doing comedy for about 19, 20 years. Is that correct?
Yeah. I know.
I've been doing this for 25.
It's mad when we say that, and now neither one of us is doing it anymore. It's great, isn't it? Fucking brilliant. It took a pandemic to get shot of us. Do you know what I mean? They were actually, I think it was oh my God, the Jays are still doing stand-up. Put them out their misery. Send in the COVID. Do you know what I mean? Get them out. Get them COVID. Honestly. Because I don't know about you, but I have this thing where sometimes I'm like, when like, you know, it's great, and I've had amazing experiences, and I love being a stand-up comic, but there is part of me that goes, like, I don't know if I can ever not be a stand-up comic. Do you know, like, ever, like, just not do it? And yeah, sometimes I find that scary. So yeah, maybe they were like, here's some COVID.
Oh, this job is an addiction. Any comic will probably say, like, this is an addiction. We do this for love and
I know.
money.
But it's so funny when you meet an ex-comic. Do you know, like, when you meet an ex-comic in the wild, like, and it takes you a minute to realize that's who that person is. Yeah,
it's the bitterness in the eyes. It's the bitterness.
Well, yeah, you know, when you look at them, you're like, what is different about them? And I'm like, oh, they're healthy and happy. Like, they're not giving a shit who's getting booked by who. They don't care how many Fringe stars that nobody got. Like, they don't care. And they're smiling. Their wives are still with them. It's amazing.
Skin's glowing, everything. They've got a car and everything. It's all
yeah, they're not bankrupt. They can pay their tax. It's great. You know, I look at those people and I feel sorry for them.
yeah, me too. I'm like, what? You don't travel home at 2 o'clock in the morning on a train full of drunk people anymore? What's wrong with you?
You don't get your self-worth from audiences of people you'll never see again? Whatever.
This is why we do it, folks. This is why we do it.
We do it for you. We do it for the audience.
You did a Fringe show. This is where I remember I last heard your name. You did a Fringe show a few years ago called was it Jay's Jammy? Is that correct? Was that's the radio show you did?
I did. So it's a radio show now, and it started life as my 2019 Fringe show. So the last Fringe show I actually did because of the stupid COVID ban, because we couldn't do it last year because, like, people wouldn't sit together. And my 2019 show, I did a show called Jay's Jammy, which was all about luck. It was about, like, you know, what if you believe in luck? Do you think you're lucky? And I did this quiz. I put this, like, quiz out to the internet, thinking that I'd probably get, like, you know, half a dozen replies that I could build a show around. And I got, like, thousands of people completed this quiz, like lots and lots of people completed it. And I mean, it was a nightmare because I only had a Survey Monkey. I'd only paid for the 100 people return. So then I ended up having to pay £35 a month for about 5 months. And I got all these thousands of replies, and I built the whole Fringe show around it. And then it's recently this year during COVID, I worked on it, and I made it into a 3-part series with BBC Radio Scotland, where I got to interview some people in real life. And then, because we started it before the pandemic, and then a lot of people, like, kind of like this over Zoom and different mediums like that. But yeah, I got to ask people things like, what's the luckiest thing that's ever happened to them? And the answers to that, some of them were so depressing, it made me want to cry. Like, one person actually put the luckiest thing that had ever happened to them was finding an umbrella on the number 26 bus. That was the luckiest thing that had ever happened to them. But it got worse because then
that's a paid gig.
Yeah, it got even worse because, like, underneath it they then put, but then it turned out it was actually my umbrella that I had left on the bus the previous day. So I was like, that's not finding an umbrella. That's, like, not losing an umbrella. It's not even, and that was the luckiest thing that ever happened to them.
Oh, this is amazing. The show's still up on BBC Sounds, is that correct?
Yeah, so you can get it. I think you can still get. So it went out on the 28th of December because it was my birthday. Actually, went out on my birthday, and then it went out subsequently, like, over the next, like, few days. So I think you can still get 2 of them on actual BBC Radio Scotland, and then I think you can get the whole series on BBC Sounds.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Brilliant.
So I think we've got a banner for that, which we'll show later. But for everyone, do it. Now, speaking of luck, this is the thing that got me, because I found out briefly that it was about luck. Considering that very point, what do you reckon 2021 is going to be like for comedy? Please be lucky. Please be lucky.
Oh, I know. Do you know how like depressing it was doing a show about luck, like recording a radio show about luck in 2020? Trying to sell that to people was pretty tough. You're like, "Hi, would you like to talk to me about how lucky you feel?" No, fuck off. I was just listening to Gareth's answer there, and I say, I don't know if it'll go back this year. It won't return to what we had in 2019 and the start of 2020. I don't think at this point. But I think there's so many people who have done like innovative, creative, fun things that I think that there will be, as soon as we're able to, like in Scotland, like you guys down south have actually been able to do some live gigs. And in Scotland, all we've been able to do is car park gigs where you're just like heckled by horns. Do you know what I mean? It's terrible when an Audi, do you know, and you know the sort of people that fucking drive Audis. Sorry to any Audi drivers out there. But those type of people, do you know, like, and they're like honking at you. You've been heckled by a bloody Audi with a dentist at the wheel. Do you know? It's just so yeah, we haven't been able to do that. So I'm just looking forward to something happening. Like Gareth's been doing amazing things, Janie Godley's been doing amazing things, Roscoe McClelland on Twitch and stuff. So I think there'll be some fun to be had this year.
No, absolutely. I've done a car park gig and it is soulless. So like, yeah, any single people in tonight, and all you see is just like their headlights just flashing. That's all it is. And I wonder what they're doing with the other hand. That's all I'm saying. So have we got any married people in? There's people who extra hard push that horn out. Yes. Bless them. They are soulless. I say this every week. I miss live comedy. I miss it. The other thing because Jojo has been on our show a couple of times. You do a podcast with
yeah.
Right, tell us.
Yeah. So that's been like a development from the pandemic. So I actually became a mum right at the start of actually at the end of 2019. So Jamie, the actual idea of Jamie, the reason I did a show about luck was because after 10 years of trying to conceive, I had finally fallen pregnant. So I did my 2019 Fringe show 8 months pregnant. Wow. And 7.5 months pregnant to 8 months. So yeah, I was like out to here, huge big pregnant woman, and I was 37 as well, so that's a geriatric mother. Do you know that's what they call you? They actually call you that to your face. So cheeky. I've slapped a few midwives. So yeah, I had.
This could be the reason why other Scottish comedians mixed us two up, because I'm a bit chunky and you were like 7.5 months pregnant. I could see it now. It's just the skin colour that was different. I could see it. I had hair 3 years ago.
So I just become a mum. Jojo has Wayne's, like she's shelling peas. So like she's got 4 kids. Her kids are all growing. And then Crystal Evans, who is a newer comic. She's an American comic, and she lives in Scotland, and she has 2 kids. She had a little boy just a few months after me. And she's got a 5-year-old as well. And so we have a podcast called How the Mother Half Lives. And it's a parenting / comedy podcast. We were so chuffed when we came up with that name. We were like, this is going to be fucking amazing. We were quite drunk. So we have a podcast, and it comes out every second Tuesday. It's only just new, so there's currently 2 episodes up. The 3rd episode comes out this coming Tuesday, as long as I finish the edit, and that is with an entrepreneurial businesswoman called Lara Bross, who runs Bross Bagels. And then the week after that is Josie Long. So yeah, we got Josie. Yeah, so we got Josie.
This is so cool.
But we're gonna have guys as well. We've got some boys coming on. So yeah, come and do our podcast because you have kids.
Yes, I have two. They've frequently shown up on this show. They showed up on the New Year's Eve show when I was fucked. I was absolutely pissed out of my nut, and all you can see is my 2 kids going, "Dad." I think social services were called, but because of COVID, they just sent an email. I'm thinking, but no, bless you. No, this is such a beautiful thing to sort of like meet another fellow Jay. You're doing very well in your career. because you're called Jay, just the same as I am. Look at me. Fifth most popular Asian comedian, and stick around because we've got some more fun to do. So and speaking of the fifth most popular Asian comedian in the UK, you can tell people this. The eighth most popular Asian comedian in the UK is actually Dave Chawner, and we'll bring him back to sort of round it up. So
look at that, comes full circle, doesn't it? Consummate pro.
Can I just point out, Jay Lafferty?
Hi.
Because your survey, the answers to your survey were anonymous, I was the person that got my umbrella back.
You were not.
I was. I left it on a bus, and it was the 23 bus. That's one thing you got wrong. I got off the 23 bus, went to the National Library of Scotland to do some writing. Thought, fuck, I've lost my brolly.
I don't know if you're winding me up or not, but
and then I got back on the 23 bus, sat opposite where I'd been sitting before. I thought, oh, where's my brolly? There you go.
Well, to be honest,
I absolutely love that.
I think now is a time more than ever to say that we can't do this show without your help. For more brollies for Vlad and for more medication for Jay, we need your donation. So please be generous and donate in that link below. I absolutely love that. God, it's all coming full circle today. Now, Vlad, we are doing a Scottish quiz. Do you want to explain briefly about what that's going to be?
There's 2 rounds. It's called Scots or Not, and the first round is we're going to see a number of words, 3 words, and what you have to do. This is just for Jay and Gareth. You have to guess whether they're real words or not, and if you get it right, you hear this sound. If you get it wrong, you hear this sound.
Have you got a button for that one as well, Paul?
Yeah. Technology here. And if you say what it is, if you can explain more about it, you get a bonus. If you get the wrong answer, you lose a point. First round is Scottish words. So you have to say if these are real Scottish words or not, and if they are real, what they mean. Thrapple.
Who is it? Is it me or Jay, or is it a buzzer situation?
Oh yeah, just gonna jump in there and see if it's real or not.
Thrapple.
No, false.
I reckon that's true. I'll give you a good thrapple around the air if you didn't had your wished.
Right,
real.
Well, it's for Gareth. It is a real word. Thrapple. Do you know what it means, Gareth?
I've just used it in a sentence. It means cut your wished, or I'll give you a good thrapple around the air.
No. You can shut the fuck up, or I'll hit you in the thrapple. It is the throat or the windpipe.
I mean, I wasn't a million miles away.
You weren't a million miles away.
Or is it someone that's just been punched in the face trying to say the fruit apple?
Yeah. 1 point. Jay's got -1. Right. Second word. Tumshi.
Oh, yes, that is a word.
Jay seemed confident,
Yes,
so I will say
it is a word.
Whoa,
Yeah, that's a Scottish word.
I wanted to say yes as well. What the fuck happened there?
Well, you've got to get in there quick.
She got. This is horse shit.
Okay,
Horse shit. The wheels are off already.
You lost the point you had before. Jay has made back the point she lost, so it's 0-0.
Yay.
Right, all right, rigged.
Yeah, 0-0. So it's a bit like Hamilton Accies against Livingston.
Hey, how did I not get my point for Tumshi though?
Well, yeah, but you lost a point for getting the last one wrong. So you're back to 0. So 0. Now,
my joy was short-lived there.
This is too complex.
Do you know what Tumshi means?
You can be a wee Tumshi, but I think it's a turnip.
It is a turnip. Well done. Yes.
Who knows that?
Yeah,
Me, because I'm more Scottish than you.
No, apparently so, Lafferty. Apparently so.
Tamsin is a turnip or an idiot in the way that arsehole can mean a rectum or an idiot. But the real...
I'll get the next one. I'm getting the next one.
Tamsin, turnip. Right, so 1 to Jay, none to Gareth. And the final
Even
one...
though Jay got to answer in the first one, and we both did, but I didn't get to answer the second one, so it's equally fair.
No
one's winning a yacht, mate.
I'm very competitive.
The final one is Richter.
True. That's a real word, that. Richter.
No, false.
It's off the Richter scale. Come on. That's how a Scottish person says Richter.
It's not a
That's
real
a
word.
Scottish person saying Richter.
It is a word invented by Frankie Boyle in 1996.
Well, it is a word then.
No, it's not a word.
Well, you just said Frankie Boyle invented it.
Yeah, it's part of a comic routine. It's part of a comic routine.
I feel like I want to interject at this point in time. I am loving this quiz, but what you don't know is that there is part 2 to this quiz as well. So all to play for, but you can win back those points. Basically, we're going to ask Vlad is going to ask you Scottish or not. Scottish or notish?
Yes. So, it's 1 to Jay, none to Gareth right now. No, -1 to Gareth.
I was hoping he would notice. He noticed. Shit.
2 points to make up. Right, this next round is we're going to show you certain people. Robert the Bruce, was he Scottish?
No.
No.
Both correct. No, he was from Essex. Robert the Bruce was a nobleman who owned land in Essex, and his family just took over parts of Scotland.
Well, I knew that Liam Neeson had played him, so I thought, it's probably not Scottish.
Why do you feel like Jeremy Hunt?
Funnily enough, he's never been in The Only Way is Essex. Yes, as my daughter, JC Escapades, points out, the Frankie Boyle phrase was, I will push you up the Richter.
I mean, an example of the word being used makes it kind of seem like it is a fucking word.
Right, next person. Is this person Scottish or not? Tony Blair.
Whatever Jay says, I'll go the opposite because I need to make back points. So
yeah, I think he is Scottish.
I'll say no then. No, he's not Scottish.
Correct.
Yes.
Tony Blair.
Foolproof.
Tony Blair went to school in Scotland. He went to
Of course he did.
He went to
Everyone knows that. Airdrie, wasn't it? It was Airdrie.
Can I just interrupt for one moment? If anyone is joining this quiz, thank you so much for all the comments for like Comedy Rob, Kirsty, JC Spades. You join us at a crunch moment. Vlad, if I am right, is it neck and neck?
I think it's neck and neck, yes. So as
it all hangs in the balance for Scottish or not, Jay.
Yeah. And here we have the final one.
This is massive.
Elvis Presley.
Nay, fucking danger.
No, he's not Scottish.
Oh, well then if Jay's saying no, I'm saying yes, he is.
Well done, Gareth.
Oh, not Scottish. That's not
danger.
true.
Nay,
he once came to Prestwick. He once came to Prestwick.
He was born in Prestwick. He was born there.
He once came to Prestwick Airport, and they have never mentioned that. But his great-great-great-great-grandparents came from Aberdeenshire.
But that doesn't make him Scottish.
Jay, the quiz is over. Come on now. Don't be a bad loser.
He died of a heart attack at the age of 42 on the toilet.
Yeah, you're going to be telling me I'm not Chinese next because I had a takeaway last night. Right, we are going to move on to our next section. A couple of things. It doesn't make any sense, Gareth. Don't listen into it. People hear the word Chinese, instantly think you're a racist. Thank you very much for the shares. Love a little thing for you, Jay. Catherine Houston's written in. She said, speaking of, look, at a local radio station, they came in to do a broadcast at the school about road safety. They had a quiz very much like the one that you are playing. I won, left the school, got knocked down. Now I'm disabled. Took a real. She's not disabled. I'm just trying to be as offensive as possible. That's how you Scottish people.
The way you delivered it, it reeked of a punchline. And now she's disabled.
Can I also just say, because there's no way, I can't say a way of replying on the actual comments, but Kirsty Shields, I get a Who Gives a Crap box every 6 weeks, so I never get through it, just so you know.
Is that the toilet roll thing? They send you
Yeah,
both.
that's the toilet roll, yeah.
Fair play. That's a
She's
good little business.
She's obviously a fan of the End of the World quiz, Vlad.
That's right.
But, you know,
Which I've never fucking won. So I feel a little bit, I feel nice. I've won that one.
Well, you know what, my friends? We are running over because we've got so much to do. But JJ and Vlad, this one is all for you, including Gareth, who is on the reigning victory at the moment. We are going to play our final game of the show tonight. It is Mask Tasker. There you go. It is definitely not stolen from an ex-Dave, now Channel 4 show. It is absolutely a unique idea that we came up with. This is weird and wonderful ways that you can use your mask. I am going to be the judge of who is the best. Now, this week's Mask Tasker is a brilliant one. I want you to use your masks as a blindfold, and you have to draw Willie. There you go. You have to draw Willie with your mask over your eyes. For anyone that is not familiar, there's a picture of Willie, and then there's the person that inspired it, Vladimir McTavish, right next to it. You have 30 seconds to draw your Willie. Your time starts now. I am already loving how Jay has got a brilliant little mask there. I love that.
I can't get my bloody mask on around the headphones.
You have your mask on around the eyes. I mean, I thought Gareth was flagrantly.
I'm going to have to take this off, and I'll just have to guess in 30 seconds.
Already used up, whereas Vlad looks like he's done this before. He looks like he's in the zone. He's very much comfortable with this. Whereas Jay Sodagar looks like he's just about to be kidnapped. It really does look like a cry for help. I like how Jay Lafferty's using all different types of, she's going near, she's going far. I smell a little bit of cheating, but not as much cheating as we see on the bottom left with Gareth, who is hiding out of shot so that we can't see that he's using his mask. You have 5 seconds left. Finish your Willies in 3, in 2, in 1, and there it is. Time. I mean, it's all put those pens down and stop your drawing. I'm very excited to see how these are. It's a great reaction, so I'm going to go to you first, Jay Lafferty. Let's have a look at your Willie. Hold it up to the camera.
I got the bucket bit. He's sitting on the bucket. He's decapitated. He has no.
That's great! What a brilliant start! I'm going to stick with
Is that Willie in his Islamic State years?
Yeah, I did write Vlad as well, but it went into the hair. Like I was definitely not cheating. So
we're going to stick with the JJ Sodagar. Let's have a look at yours.
Okay, let me put that up there. Can you see that? There you go.
Oh,
so
a little bit.
That was blindfolded. That's
yeah,
not bad. And then I drew a little penis. There you
go.
Oh, Jesus Christ! This is what I have to put up with. Gareth, you are next.
I mean, I'll be very fucking honest with you. I'm genuinely proud of myself for this.
Oh, why? That's amazing.
He's sitting down. He's fake hair. The smile is going off of his face. That's how happy he is.
I'm not gonna lie. The bar is incredibly low, Vlad. Can you take it? Let's have a look at your blindfold picture of Willie.
Oh.
Shut up. I mean, that
dirty in the last round. That confirms it.
That is incredible. I think we can all.
I think that what we should do is actually spend the quiz getting Dave to say "Ur Willie" in his like amazing English accent.
Painfully English.
It's important. Howard Willie.
I was like trying to say it really quick. Like, you know, if there's someone's name you can't pronounce, you say it really quick. You're like, like that, because I really can't. How do you say it? You three say it all together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Urwelly.
That is the most Scottishy way that we can bring our wonderful Burns Night Scottish tribute to a close. What an absolute pleasure it has been to have you on. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, it's not too late to donate. Please do donate in that link below. Please be generous, because it's free to watch. It's not free to produce. It costs a lot to put on these shows. So we absolutely love doing it, but we can only do it with your continued support. And we can only do it with the continued support of the wonderful comedy community. So for the final time, I'm going to hand over to guests to plug whatever their wares are. So firstly, hanging over that way to Jay Lafferty. Jay, what would you like to plug?
Oh, go and download The Mother Half Lives from wherever you get your podcasts and give Jay's Jammy a little listen. Yay.
There you go. Go download that podcast now. Jay's Jammy on BBC Radio Scotland, and have a look at the podcast as well. Finally, but by no means leastly, that way, Gareth, what have you got to plug?
I have a new YouTube channel. I upload videos. I try to make it every week. So far this year, I have been consistent to that, but you know, the year is early. But yeah, if you could go over, I've got, I think some funny shit over there. I'd appreciate if you went over there and hit like subscribe and shit. I don't know. I'm not good at plugging stuff.
Please do support our wonderful funny folk. And for the final time, let's give a massive round of applause to my co-host, the wonderful Jay Sodigar, the wonderful Vladimir McTavish, Jay Lafferty, Gareth Mutch. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week, and goodbye.